Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. If you've been sitting in meetings lately and hearing terms like model drift or generative AI getting tossed around, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're diving into part 9 of a 10-part tutorial titled 30 Common Terms Used in Machine Learning Using Easy-to-Understand Examples for IT Professionals. We're going to anchor these concepts right into the systems you already know and manage. Just for a bit of context, the insights we're unpacking today come straight from Virtualization Options, LLC. They're a Colorado-based technology research, education, and advisory organization. And the great thing about this guide is that it's designed specifically for us, sysadmins, DevOps engineers, and IT managers. The goal here is to cut right through that heavy academic math and focus entirely on practical systems. Okay, before we actually start building out our AI tech stack, I really want you to keep this one crucial paradigm shift in mind. Traditionally, we write the rules, right? But machine learning doesn't replace logic. It discovers logic from data. So instead of explicitly programming every single if-then condition, we're moving to a world where we let systems discover those rules organically, just based on the information we feed them. It's a real game changer. So here's how we're going to build our AI stack layer by layer today. We'll start with AI stack fundamentals, then look at how ML thinks, followed by data and features, deep learning and Gen AI, and finally, we'll wrap up with MLOps and production. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, AI Stack Fundamentals, the foundation. First up, artificial intelligence, or AI. It's the broad, overarching field of computer science focused on building systems capable of performing tasks that normally require human intelligence. To put this into everyday IT terms, think of AI as your base operating system layer. Just like Windows or Linux gives you that broad environment where all your apps run, AI is the platform housing everything else we're going to talk about today. Now, running right inside that AI operating system, we have the algorithm. You can think of the algorithm as the core engine powering the logic rules that actually drive the decisions. Whether that's a decision tree using rule-based branching, or maybe linear regression predicting continuous values, the algorithm is essentially the underlying mechanical engine calculating your outcomes. Moving right along to Section 2, how machine learning thinks, and how it actually goes about discovering that logic. Look, traditional software is basically a strict rule book. You, the engineer, sit there and write out every single if-then condition. But machine learning? It's entirely different. It's kind of like hiring a junior employee who just sits down, reads through thousands of past IT support tickets, and figures out the underlying patterns all by themselves. You don't have to write a single line of rule-based logic for them. So the big question is, how does this learning actually happen? Well, depending on what kind of data you provide to the algorithm, ML learns in 3 primary ways: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Let's focus on those first 2, since they're definitely the most common you're going to see in enterprise environments. Supervised learning trains on known answers. It's exactly like teaching that junior analyst we just talked about by handing them, say, 10,000 support tickets that are already perfectly tagged as hardware issue or software issue. You give it the input, and you give it the correct output. Unsupervised learning, on the flip side, is given raw, unlabeled data and told, hey, go find the structure yourself. It spots outliers completely on its own. It functions a lot like a network intrusion detection system that simply monitors traffic and flags unusual patterns, without even knowing what normal was defined as beforehand. And that naturally brings us to Section 3, data and feature engineering, which is all about the inputs. If you hang around data scientists, you are constantly going to hear the word features. Basically, features are individual measurable properties. To map this directly to what we do in IT, just think of features as columns in a database table. So if you're building a model to predict server downtime, your features, your columns, might be things like CPU usage, memory utilization, disk I/O, or error log counts. Now listen closely, because this is the absolute unbreakable golden rule of machine learning. Data quality equals model quality. Seriously, there are no shortcuts here. A model's performance ceiling is literally entirely dictated by the quality, the size, and the diversity of the data set you feed it. If your database columns are full of garbage, well, your model's predictions are going to be garbage too. Okay, let's step it up a notch in Section 4, Advanced Architectures. We'll look at deep learning and generative AI. First up in this space is deep learning. Now, while traditional machine learning is incredibly useful, it still requires a fair bit of hand-holding. Traditional ML is kind of like writing regex patterns to manually parse logs. Deep learning, however, uses multi-layer neural networks. It's a system that can read millions of logs and literally invent its own parsing rules to discover deep, unseen patterns. It does require massive compute power, usually GPUs, but this is the exact architecture powering modern image recognition and speech to text. Because deep learning is just so heavily resource intensive, the industry relies a lot on something called transfer learning, and it is brilliantly efficient. Instead of training a massive model completely from scratch, you take a pre-trained model and just adapt it. It's exactly like hiring a senior engineer who already knows networking and security from their last job, and you just have to onboard them to the specific quirks of your unique environment. It saves you massive amounts of compute and data. And that leads us directly to the star of the modern AI show. You see, the traditional models we've discussed so far are what we call discriminative AI, meaning they predict or they classify. They look at a photo and identify, yes, there is a cat in this. Generative AI, things like ChatGPT, DALL-E, or GitHub Copilot, creates entirely new data from scratch. It doesn't just identify the cat, it draws a brand new cat photo or writes a completely new script, all based on the massive patterns it learned during its training phase. Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, MLOps and production models, focusing on operations and maintenance. When you're deploying a model to production, you've got a critical architectural choice to make about how that model makes its predictions, which we call inference. You basically have to choose between batch inference, which is perfect for high-volume, bulk nightly processing, like maybe scoring all your daily transactions for fraud, or real-time inference. Real-time requires those lightning-fast, millisecond responses, like checking a credit card at a point-of-sale terminal. But just remember, it demands significantly higher compute costs and a lot more architectural complexity. Once it's actually deployed, you need monitoring dashboards just like you would for any other app. But for ML models, we monitor very specific evaluation metrics. Think of evaluating a model exactly like you'd evaluate a brand new malware scanner. Accuracy is just how often it's generally right overall. Precision measures how many of the flagged files were actual threats, which helps minimize your false alarms. And recall measures how many of the actual real threats in the environment the scanner successfully caught. You really need all three of these metrics to know if your model is actually healthy. And you really have to monitor these metrics constantly because of a tricky little phenomenon called model drift. This is essentially the degradation of a model's performance over time. Think about it. A highly accurate spam filter trained back in 2020 will completely fail against 2024 spam tactics, right? Your ML models will degrade in the exact same way as the real-world data drifts away from the patterns it originally trained on. You need strict operational vigilance to catch this so you know exactly when it's time to retrain the model. AI is rapidly becoming just another essential IT system that we have to monitor, update, and maintain. So the question I want to leave you with today is this. As these advanced models move out of the data science lab and into your live production environments, how will you adapt your current operational pipelines and CI/CD processes to prevent model drift and keep these AI systems healthy in the real world? It's a massive challenge for sure, but with the foundations we've covered today, you are more than ready to tackle it. Thanks for joining this explainer, and keep learning.